Murthy Gadge Maharaj. Initially, at the outset, I express my sincere thanks to Honorable Vice Chancellor, Pro Vice Chancellor, our Registrar, and importantly, Director of Madan Mohan Malviya Teachers Training Center, erstwhile UGC HRDC Center, Dr. Atik Sir, and my friend Ankit for arranging and organizing this excellent, you can say, FDP for our teachers. I am really a bit, you can say, under pressure as expert like Dr. Moril sir is already there. So it's it's a Herculean task to put something when he is also there. But really it is encouraging too. So thank you very much, Dr. Avinash Moril sir. I'm also thankful to Dr. Javandia sir. And my topic is implementation. The very integration of academic higher education like Mahila Mahavidyalaya with technical education like Dr. P.R. Pote College of Engineering, integration of academic with technical, that itself is the implementation spirit. So it's a very well beginning, and my initial job is already done by Honorable both the principals, Dr. Moril sir and Dr. Javandia sir. So thank you very much. So let us begin our discussion. Now, friends, we have got a long inning of almost 180 minutes, so 3 hours. I know as a teacher, it's probably easy, but when you are on the other side, listening side, I know how much difficult it is for any teacher. So let us plan our session in 2 parts, about 90 minutes or say 85 minutes in first part, another 85 minutes in another parts. In between, we may have 5-10 minutes tea break. So 1 hour and 20-25 minutes first part, 5-10 minutes tea break, and then again we will continue. Now these in 2 sessions, we will have again 3 parts of our topic. In first part, I will like to devote, say about 20-25 minutes for background to understand the frameworks. Even though many of us may be fully aware, but it is necessary to again look into policy, national education policy from perspective of our today's topic. Then second part, we will discuss some frameworks. Say probably we will discuss NCRF and HEQF, and in third part, we will discuss LOCF. My request is, in between, if you find me, I am unnecessarily stretching certain point which is very well known, very well implemented, please feel free to guide me, stop me there itself. Another my request, during the course of discussion, if anybody wants to add for the betterment of our interactive session, so particularly Avinash sir, I will request you please intervene, and anything better about that point you are able to interact. I think it would be also better in the interest of all participants also. And third thing, feel free to ask questions, because if we make it more interactive, probably it will be beneficial to all of us. I will also learn something. Now with this brief request, let us decide what should be our learning outcome after a long session of, you can say, 3 hours. In my opinion, our, you can say, learning outcome will be, we will reorient ourselves on the in between the lines of these policies. So whatever is stated in lines, probably through our X-rays, eyes now, today we will be able to fit beyond what is actually written. This is what we expect. Second thing, when it comes to implementation, we should be able to apply the concepts of credit or qualification framework or level-based education, competency-based education, when we will design our syllabi as a part of, you can say, BOS, or we can even supplement our views to BOS, faculty or academic council. And when we will, as a teacher, as an institute, when we will actually implement whatever will be decided by university or other, you can say, regulatory bodies. So when ultimately it will come to we, the teacher, we, the institution, probably we should be able to apply very well understood concepts of various frameworks, outcome-based education in our teaching pedagogies or teaching methodologies as well as evaluation. And most importantly, level-based education, competency-based education. This is what we expect at the end of our sessions. And these learning outcomes we will divide again in three parts. Some of the outcomes we will see that we will be able to accomplish in first part, some in second, and remaining in third part. So this is how we will go ahead. So now let us begin with our actual discussion of national education policy. So all of us know that national education policy has got three important words: education, national, and then it's a policy. 2020 when it was implemented. Friends, little bit if we go into the history of it, one special thing about this policy we will know that this policy is a evolved policy. Somewhere in 1985-86, our last new education policy came into existence. And immediately after that, the evolution of National Education Policy 2020 started. Somewhere in 87, Washington Accord came into existence, and the concept of quality, concept of benchmarking, concept of equivalency of local with global, and such type of things came through that Washington Accord, and National Board of Accreditation came into existence for engineering education, followed by NEP for all other non-professional education. And you will find that is one of the milestones which will get reflected in this policy also. Somewhere in 1992, Government of India we as a country accepted globalization as our national policy. So GATT agreement came into existence after Washington Accord, and there that time we thought that GATT is only for trade and industry, but no, education was also part of it as a service sector. Somewhere in 1987, the whole world was jolted when Brundtland Commission report came before United Nations of Organization. And the document known as Our Common Future became the important topic for whole world. All 172 countries were the signatory of acceptance of that Our Common Future report. It led to concept of sustainable development. In 2002 and 2004, the Johannesburg Agreement came into existence, Bonds Declaration came, and the 17 goals of sustainable development came into existence. And the sustainable development goal number 4 was, you can say, dedicated for education. And the world has accepted that the implementation of concept of sustainability and accomplishment of all 17 sustainability goals, education has to play the important role. So onus of implementation of sustainability and concept of sustainability development goals came on the shoulders of education. So this also we will find in our national education policy. And one more important event took place in terms of information technology revolution. And all sectors were affected or touched upon by IT revolution. Probably education kept itself away from it. But in COVID, everybody has understood that there is only one way of, you can say, increasing accessibility of education and reaching everybody through IT revolution. So these milestones, we will find they have got their footprints in development, formulation, and acceptance of national education policy. So takeaway from our this few minute discussion is that NEP is a evolved policy from almost 1987 to 2014-15. So it is not prepared by any one government or any one group of people, but it is a evolved, you can say, policy. So it has to be accepted because it has got many links with networking and signing of agreements worldwide, sustainability, and many other factors, quality. So obviously, the pillars of, you can say, NEP 2020, which we can call it as foundation pillar, there are 5 pillars: access and equity. You will find they come from, and affordability too, they come from the concept of sustainability, reaching the unreachable. And that is one access, and whatever the type of education a person in metros get, same type of education tribal or rural students should also should get. So here comes the role of technology also. So access, equity, affordability, we will find that they come from concept of sustainability. Quality is of course from Washington Accord, NAT and NBA. And fifth pillar is something we have to keep eye, that is accountability. Whose accountability? In what way it will be, who will be accountable to what extent? And as soon as the term accountability comes, it means it has something to do with outcome. So you decide something beforehand, implement it, measure the outcome, and wherever there are lacunar, system should be accountable and it should improve. So system approach comes into picture with the term accountability. And we, all important stakeholders in the form of teacher or institution, will have to keep watch on this fifth pillar, that is accountability. Now, this policy in general has got 5 parts, but for our today's discussion, we will be only restricting ourselves for higher education. So friends, what does this policy state? What is the key takeaways from this policy or allied instruments with respect to national education policy? So first part, this policy very clearly specifies what we mean by education. So we claim we are education provider. The learners claim they take the education, but what is that service, or what is that product, or what is that mean by education is very clearly defined or explained in this policy. Why it is important for we the teachers or main stakeholders institution to know? Because when we claim we are education provider, we should be very clear what is that is expected from us in this policy. So we will try to understand the concept of education envisaged in this policy. Then, along with concept of education, the fields of education is also clearly mentioned. So once we will understand what is meant by education, in which domains we have to provide those, that part, whatever is known as education, so we should understand domains also. It talks about integration of various types of education. So before integration, we should understand what are various types, what is their interrelationship, and how we can integrate various types of education to fulfill the vision of NEP. So let us understand what is this education given in NEP. The instruments related to NEP you will find, they describe and discuss the various concepts, philosophies of education from, you can say, Aristotle, Plato, Socrates, all Western thinkers. Those are also considered. Ultimately, the policy accepts the concept of education as manifestation of divine perfection already, which is existing in an individual, some sort of man-making machine. What is the message for us when this policy says it is the manifestation of perfection already they are in individual? So two things we have to accept. Our role as a teacher now is shifted from preaching to facilitation only. Because earlier we used to claim, I teach, that is why somebody learns. This very definition says it is not that because we teach, somebody gains it. It is already there. Our role is to facilitate the manifestation of perfection in it. So second thing, this policy accept that every individual is unique in itself. So there will be certain perfection, certain inherent qualities with individual which may differ from other individual. But the education provider's role is to identify that perfection which is there, or skill or attribute which is already present in individual, and you can say respecting the individuality, we have to go to individual's need and help that individual to manifest the perfection. So our role is to know our students very well, to understand their already good attributes which are within them, and individuality, individual attention, and we have to help that individual to take out the perfection in, or you can say help him to uh, come out completely. So our role, our methodology is completely changed. Now my concept that there are 60 students in my class and I have to teach same thing to everybody is now completely changed. So this is the concept of education. And most second part, concept of education is integration of knowledge, attitudes, and skills. So up till now, we were more mainly focusing on knowledge domain, cognitive domain. We used to call it as academic institutions. Now, equal weightage is given for value dispositions, ethics, behavioral development, and along with training, skilling the person. So what are the areas which we will be, you can say, facilitating the students to take out their perfection? It will be in three areas: knowledge, attitude, and skills. What does it mean? Whenever, whether we frame syllabus, we impart syllabus, or we examine, we have to ensure that knowledge, attitude, and skill, all three components are taken care of when we call ourselves as education provider. So there are three domains identified in this policy. First, in fact, it is the last domain, but I take it as first, that is affective domain, psychomotor domain, and cognitive domain. This cognitive domain is knowledge domain. Now, when we will, now again I repeat my sentence, we will be imparting education in three domains. One will be knowledge domain, other will be skill or psychomotor domain, or third will be affinitive or behavioral domain. Now, even in knowledge domain, we have to understand that there are two parts of cognitive domain also. We will be imparting, or students will be getting, descriptive knowledge and procedural knowledge. This is very important for us to understand when we design syllabus, or we impart, or we evaluate the student. In knowledge domain also, we will be giving it in two parts, two components. Descriptive knowledge is something knowing that. Say knowing that earth revolves around the sun. So it is large part of understanding is of the world is through this knowledge. And it is expressed through theory, concepts, and principle. But focus of education will not be merely remembering these facts, but ability to reason about why these facts are true. So whatever theoretical portions, laws, concepts, principle, so this descriptive knowledge we will be imparting, we have to keep in mind that remembering is not expected, but reasoning is expected even in this knowledge. So critical reviewing, critical analysis, and reasoning part of it will be more important even if we teach some theories or concepts. Second part is procedural knowledge, that is knowing how. So knowing how to communicate. So this will be more of problem solving, reasoning, critical thinking, effective communications. So second part of our theoretical part, academic part, will also be procedural knowledge. So in cognitive domain, we will be giving in two components. First component will be descriptive, other will be procedural. Now, third part of even knowledge domain itself. So I repeat, we will be giving education means we will be imparting in three domains: knowledge domain, skill domain, behavioral domain. In knowledge domains, we will be covering two components: cognitive component and procedural component. And in each of the domain and each of the component, there will be levels. So remember, we are moving towards level-based education, competency-based education. Each domain will have various levels. Say, for example, in case of knowledge domain, information domain, or thinking domain, or cognitive domain, there will be about 8, you can say, levels. Remembering something like recalling the previously learned material. Say, recite the poem, recite the tables, recite the law, state the law, such type of thing where recalling previously learned material is expected. It is the lowest level. So for higher education sector like ours, probably remember, is it not important to remember? Answer is yes. But is it only a necessary thing? Answer is no. It is the lowest level in the pyramid, and remembering for only new knowledge, probably some questions, some you can say stress can be given for recalling the information, that is memorizing the things. Second level is comprehension, understanding, grasping the meaning of material, and the student should be able to explain ideas and concepts. Understanding in our regular class, this is our favorite question: have you understood? So that is okay. But understanding is also lower part of this in level-based education. Mainly after understanding, application, analysis, evaluation, and finally synthesis, that is formulating new structures from existing knowledge and skill, is the highest level. So we have to understand that even in cognitive level, we will be having 8 levels as per Bloom's taxonomy. Remembering, that is recalling information, to generating new ideas, products, or new ways of reviewing, you can say, viewing the things. So this is also what is the takeaway for cognitive domain. If I am preparing, you can say, the first year or level 4.5, later on we will understand it. Lower level syllabi, we have to keep that it is a lower level syllabi, and when we will design the syllabus in terms of descriptive or procedural knowledge or examining the student, probably our more focus will be on understanding, applying. But as we go to second year, it may go from applying to analyzing. And as we go to third year or postgraduate or research, it will be from evaluating and creating more trust on that. So depending upon the year or level, our contents, our deliveries, and our assessment will change. And in knowledge domain, we will have two components, and each component will have various levels. So this is the takeaway for our first domain, that is knowledge domain. Second domain, that is psychomotor domain. Again, we should understand that this training and skilling domain, it is about the dexterity and use of methods, materials, tools, instruments used for performing job, including IT skills needed for a given level of study and work. Again, you will find here word level is there. And second type of thing which we have to impart is developing, you can say, capacities or skills. Now, what is mandate given to us? We should impart capacity or skill as above, but students should have ability to be consistent and repeatable, adaptable to the different situations. This is the expected outcome even when we impart capacity. Second word, second component of psychomotor domain is competencies. Now, competencies, let us try to understand the differentiate, or let us differentiate between capacity and competency. Competencies are observable and they can be assessed systematically, and they will be derived from curricular goals or expected learning outcome. by the end of each stage, and they will be articulated in curricular framework from the curriculum. Now they are attained over the period of time. Therefore, interim markers have to be needed to observe, and this interim marker we generally call as learning outcome. So this domain also, so competencies and you can say capacities, we have seen this domain is also having various levels from perception to organization. So something like get, set, go. We talk to the school children, get, set, go. Here also in doing or skilling also, first stage will be sensing the clues under guided motor activity. So some mentor, some guide, they will tell, and taking the clues, the student will try to perform. So once that you can say perception is ready, they will be mentally and emotionally ready to act. Then under guided response, they will imitate and practice. It is the imitation, practice. So first three stages are of lower level. Probably it will be more applicable school or up to 12th standard. But for with the higher education, our stages will start from guided response, mechanism, complete overt response, adoption, and organization. So when I will design, you can say, give and evaluate, say first semester practical skills. So probably I will be more on guided response and mechanism. But by the time students come to final year, we should be more towards adoption and organization. In the concrete way, suppose I am conducting first semester or second semester practicals, I will give them some, you can say, objective or aim of that practical. I will show them how to use the tools, what are the practices to be done, various types of methods of measurement, calculation. But if it is in final year or final semester, probably I will give the problem statement. I will give them number of instruments and I will ask them to choose the right instrument, right method, and right ways of finding solution from already imbibed, you can say, skills. While in lower level, I will imbibe those skills, I will imbibe those methods to the student. So this is how concept of imparting education, even in psychomotor domain, will differ in, you can, level-based system. So as we know, it has got 7 levels also. Perception is sensing, setting is mentally preparing, guided response is imitating, mechanism is performing with confidence, then complete overt means automatically, adoption is new skill set, and finally organization is the completely creating new pattern. So this is how we have to impart and ensure that students operate in psychomotor domain also. Third domain is values and dispositions. Now, it is this policy states that effective action needs strong motivation in addition to knowledge and capacity. So simply having knowledge or simply having capacity does not result into action. And that all of us in regular life also knows it. We know many teachers, they are highly knowledgeable, they are having very high capacity. But when it comes to delivery, we many times students give the response, teacher's knowledge is immense, but however, he is not effective teacher. Or principal, when they prepare for any NAC or any committee, that time they know that having very good potential to perform, many times some of the teachers, they do not come to their expected level of performance. And this is one of the reasons identified is lack of motivation because values and disposition. So this policy states that our values and dispositions are sources of motivation. So it is again equally important to imbibe those things in our student to make them, you can say, successful or happy in their career. Now, what is the difference between values and dispositions as pointed out? Values are beliefs about what is right and wrong, while dispositions are attitudes and perception that form the basis of behavior. So we have to imbibe values and dispositions as a part of regular curricular activity in our student. Again, this you can say affinative domain is also having levels, five levels are there, from receiving to internalizing. Receiving means selectively attending to some stimuli. Responding is responding to stimuli. Valuing is attaching value or worth to something. Organization is conceptualizing the values and resolve the conflicts, and internalizing is the integrating of values into value system that controls the behavior. Again, here also it is expected that receiving, responding, valuing will be of lower level. Some of them may be of school level, but for our higher level, more emphasize in our curriculum designing, impartition, and evaluation will be valuing, organization, and internalization. So, yes, madam. Okay. So what is important for us is we should understand the domains now. Let me just take away whatever we have done. We have understood the evolution of national education policy. We have understood the concept of education envisioned in this policy. We have understood domains of education. And when we say that we will impart education, it means we will be imparting the integral of knowledge, skill, and behavioral domain. Now we will be going for level-based education. So our education will be demarcated into various levels, and for each domain, let us talk about cognitive domain. So it will have two components: descriptive knowledge, procedural knowledge, and for each component, it will be in 5, 6, you can say, levels, from memorizing to new creation, synthesizing. So we have to ensure that we operate in both the component of knowledge and at appropriate level as well. Then for psychomotor, we know that again there are 7 levels in psychomotor also, and we will be operating mainly on higher level. So one part is having knowledge, second part is having skill to implement knowledge, and along with capacities and knowledge, third domain, that is values and dispositions, are also important. So in our designing syllabus, imparting syllabus or examination, we will be doing at various levels of each of the domain of all of this. This is what we will be doing when we understand what is education as per education policy. Now, second mandate of education policy is integration of various types of education. So what are the types of education envisioned in this policy? First is academic education, which is focused on cognitive domain, information and knowledge. And we are expert in this academic education. Up till now, our most part of our education, except technical education, it was mainly focused on information and knowledge. But now, along with academic education, there is second important type of education, which is vocational education. Problem with our traditional perception for vocational education is, let us take example of MCVC. Whom do we advise to take MCVC? When we say he cannot understand mathematics, he is not good in languages, then we advise, okay, why don't you go for MCVC? Even in higher education, because I am afraid of maths in 12th, so I ask, okay, after 10th you go to Polytechnic, or those who are not even good in mathematics or any other, we ask them to go for ITI. Now, this is considered to be a very big weakness of our education system. This policy strongly advocates importance of vocational education equivalent to academic education. So clear mandate is integrate the vocational education into academic education. Let us understand difference between skilling and vocational education, because skilling is also fourth component in our NEP, which we will be integrating. The vocational education is giving knowledge and skills to specific practical challenges and work situation in the economy. So certain specific occupation, vocation is first identified, and whatever is required in terms of knowledge and skill for successful carrying out that vocation or occupation, when related to that part of our economy and practical challenges and work situation in that particular occupation, when knowledge and skill is given, that we call it as vocational. Now, when we say that vocational education will be integrated with academic education, what is the responsibility given to us? Here comes accountability. So everybody of us will have to first study and understand the work situation in the economy. Now, work situation in the economy, only current cannot be understood. We will have to keep futuristic. Our student is in first year, but what will be the work situation in the economy after 6 years? We will have to, you can say, forecast it, and the requirement of knowledge and skills specific to the choice the student has selected. We have to give vocational component also along with academic component. So this is the important task given to us, integration of vocational education into academic education. Other types of educations are professional education and technical education. For our today's discussion, we will more focus on integration of all these various types of education. Now, once we have understood various types of education, on now with this basic understandings of terminology, now let us try to understand the policy. As I was saying, we will have to understand in between the lines. And to understand in between the lines, we have to be a little bit clear about concept of education. You can say types of education, domains of education, and integration of them. So one thing is very clear with this terminology. Let us understand what does this policy state. The policy states that we have to enable the individual. See, as I was saying, the identification of need of individual, and to appreciate that every individual is a has divine perfection. It may be different than others. So enabling individuals, so our mass base, class base, you can say all my measuring everything on total mass basis, 60 student, whole batch, probably it will slowly diminish and everything will go to individual. So our mandate given to us is to enable individual to study one or more specialized areas of interest. Another mandate to us, we have to not give everything bulk in all the areas. You may give touch to various areas, but whatever area of learner is of interest, we have to enable him to study in depth that area. So that one part. Second part is develop the character and constitutional values. So behavioral domain, value domain, and impart 21st century capabilities across range of disciplines, so multidisciplinary, including science, as well as integration of professional, technical, and vocational subjects. So this is how we have to look into this policy statement. The aim of education very clearly stated in this policy is, of course, cognitive development, both procedural knowledge, foundational knowledge, higher order knowledge, and you can say descriptive knowledge. So that has to be done. So you can say academic component has to be given in detail. Second, equipped with the 21st century skill. So we have to identify, they will continually change as per the requirement. The skills is important. Third is building character, social, ethical, emotional capacities as well as disposition, and creating holistic and well-rounded individuals. It is very clearly everywhere individual is to be addressed. This is the mandate of you can say NEP. The purpose of education is also very, very clearly given. It is, you can say here the term accountability will come on us. It aims at producing engaged, productive, contributing citizens for building equitable, inclusive, plural society as envisaged by our constitution. And with this aims and objective, mandate is given to us what is expected from the academic or you can say education providers, maybe teacher, maybe institute, maybe university. See, the mandate is it must prepare student for meaningful and satisfying life. Word successful is not used. Meaningful, अर्थपूर्ण जीवन विद्यार्थी जगेल याच्यासाठी आपल्याला तयार करायचं आहे. So what will be accountability? Students, our alumni, maybe at later part of time, anytime, there may be survey to see what type of quality of life the student is going through. If he is living meaningful and satisfying life, then it will be said that, okay, education system has done its purpose. See, the word is must prepare. What is the second mandate given to us? It must prepare students for their future work role. So we have to keep eye on what the student will be through my education after 6-7 years. So my student has taken admission in first year in say some humanities or some engineering course. So what he will be or he or she will be doing after 6-7 years? He may be in higher education, maybe doing PhD, maybe doing in some corporate role, maybe in social work, maybe some administrative role. So we have to first envision what are the possible work roles in my domain, and we have to prepare students so that requirement of future job roles is all sufficed in our education system. And third mandate is we have to prepare students to enable them for economic independence. So road or target are very clearly given to us. What is education is called, what for education is given, and what is mandate for education provider is also given. Now, when I see the fifth pillar, I find that we will be tested against these three, whether our students are leading meaningful and satisfying life, whether they are able to discharge what is expected in their job roles, and whether they are economically independent. So these are the three destinations given to us. So according to these three destinations, we have to plan our academics, our assessment, and our deliveries. Fourth component, important component, is skilling component. Now, here, what is expected is anticipate the job market trend. Now, here, 3 months, 6 months skilling courses and completely flexibility is given to the individual teaching institute or to some extent to teacher itself. So, analyze the job market trends and identify the learning opportunities. So, it is a continuous process and we may have to do it continually. The premise is whatever job existed 10 years ago, now they have become outdated due to increased automation, and jobs which are present today are bound to get modified and replaced completely with a better, you can say, alternative. Thus, identifying and anticipating market trends and skills is needed so that students become ready as per the need of future. So this is what is the job we have to do, skill gap analysis. And for that, the policy says we, HEIs, will be allowed to conduct short-term course, certificate courses. They should be of minimum 12 credit or maximum 30 credit. Credit definition is same, and short-term skill development course must have a greater focus on practical learning. Now, for these skilling courses, we do not have to wait for university or BOAS to change syllabus. This, you can say 3 months, 6 months courses, it is expected that we design, get it approved, and there is certain conditions for awarding qualifications and credit. So we will have to full later on when we go to framework. That time we will understand how credit can be only granted and how qualification can be given. Remaining within that framework, the freedom is given, or in fact mandate is given to, you can say, conduct continually the skill courses, and every time it will change depending upon the market need. It has to be preferably along with partnership with industry and work integrated training and other models. So internship, apprenticeship is the mandate of NEP. Now UGC has come out with separate apprenticeship embedded degree program. Soon, with that, you can say that document from our university is also likely to come. UGC has already issued that document. So this is fourth component, is probably something new for we the teachers working in this higher education area for long. Along with our university curriculum, it is our mandate to conduct, you can say 3 months, 6 months, 12 credit up to 30 credit courses, work integrated training, partnership with industry employer, and apprenticeship, along with, you can say, for mainstream education and those who are left also. Now, summarizing my first part of about 1 hour, exactly as I planned, is about to, you can say, complete. So let me just take the summary of whatever we have up till now done for last 55 minutes, summary of policy and vision. So concept of education is manifestation of perfection existed in individual. So two things are important. It is about individual. So our group dynamics has converted into individual centric system. Second thing, since it is manifestation, our role as preacher is changed to facilitator for helping student to explore already attributes within that individual. So identification of attributes in individual, helping that individual to come out, and it will be through integration. Education means integration of knowledge, skills, and attitudes very clearly. So it is a guideline for us to frame the syllabus, to deliver it and examine it, that we will be doing in 3 domains of knowledge, skills, and attitude. Each domain, as we know, has got many components. For example, knowledge has got 2 components, skills has got capacity and you can say competency as component, attitude has got values, disposition, behavior as component. So in each of the subcomponent of this domain, we have to take care. We have to integrate vocational education with academic, very important mandate, or you can say order of this policy, that integrate vocational education. Another thing, we have to embed short-term skill education, work integrated training models, and partnership with industry and employer. We have to understand that complete system is going into level-based education. So for each level of each domain, we have to keep in mind for which level we are preparing. Later on, we will see that each level is mapped with qualification and qualification description too. But to go into that area, it is necessary to refresh ourselves on this. And what do we mean by imparting education means? We will have to impart descriptive knowledge, procedural knowledge as per the level. We have to invite capacities, capabilities, and competencies. We have to also ensure the students get imbibed with values, dispositions, ethics, and sense of responsibility. And finally, mandate to us is to prepare student, our learner, for meaningful, satisfying lives, their future job roles, and we have to try the students or learners become economically independent in their life. So this is the summary. So for few minutes, I will stop, and if anything, we will Avinash sir will like to add because he is expert in all these fields. So if I am missing something, I request Avinash sir if he likes to add. If somebody wants to ask anything, let us have 5 minutes interactive session. Then we will go to part. Avinash sir, will you like to add anything?
So right now, nothing is needed, sir. We'll
Yes.
discuss it in the next part because that is, I think, will be liked by everybody.
Okay. Anybody will have any question about this? Because once this is clear, then framework, it will be easier for all of us to understand frameworks.
Sir, one thing comes in my mind that when we talk about the framework,
Yeah.
now, can we say that the framework will be uniform everywhere or will have difference in it?
In my opinion, framework will be common for everybody, whether it is at Amravati or Delhi, or whether it is college or university. Framework will remain same. Within framework, we will have autonomy to change.
Because, always when it is said, I mean, that in various types of discussions also, we listen that some of the teachers come up with the thought that now considering the rural areas, considering the semi-urban and considering the urban areas. So in my opinion, it is the matter of implementation basically, as we have rightly said, that framework shall be same. It differs on the level of implementation, and there probably the things are different. That is why we find a kind of aversion about it, what we usually see.
Sir, later on we will see that within the framework will not be changed. But within the framework, whether you are rural, urban, tribal, or metro or international level institution, there your clear-cut vision, you can say POs and PLOs, you can decide you are preparing students for which area. And once you well define it in 3-4 sentences, that I am preparing students, suppose I am chemistry teacher, and I say that I am preparing student for agrochemicals because that is for relevant to my area, not pharmaceutical. So there, designing the syllabus more towards agrochemicals is permitted. Somebody in Gujarat, where petrochemical is in more, you can say, application wise, they may say that we are preparing chemistry, my boys, but for petrochemical sector. There they can change. But ultimately defining your POs, what you want expect student to work in, which you can say domain of economy. So that you define and then you design. But keeping, you can say, frameworks, that will be mandatory for each of us. So when we will go to framework, for each framework, I will try to explain what part is mandatory, what part we have got flexibility.
But then in longer run, sir, what we can suggest is that accepting the academic autonomy will be beneficial for the institutions.
It is the mandate almost, sir. Everybody will have to go, because if we see the institutional restructuring and new architecture, there will be only 3 types of institutions: research universities, teaching research universities, and fully autonomous colleges. So
because as we are here from one technical institute, and one is ours is a traditional education provider. So in our college also, we do find that certain courses are to be introduced, certain basic needs, different needs are there for these girl students. But what happens that not having autonomy about the curriculum structuring, it takes so much time in the procedural delays. And that is why, as you are rightly said, that shall be the way of making our institutions vibrant, to go for academic autonomy.
The next step of implementation of NEP will be autonomy, maybe as an individual or in the form of cluster. So all girls institutions, colleges, they may form a cluster and they will say, as per your need, you design. But definitely autonomy is the one of the destinations. So academic autonomy will be there maybe to individual or to a cluster. But that is the way ahead. It is a fact, sir.
That is absolutely right, sir.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
So, so let us go to the second, or in fact, the more focused areas of our today's discussion, that is NEP 2024 framework. Now, as sir has rightly said, these frameworks are binding to everybody, each and everybody. There are two reasons I will tell, just to give answer to sir, that in my opinion, NEP is a journey from local to global via national. In this framework, when we will see one by one, you will find that lot of homework is done prior to implementation of this policy to align everything with international standards. So first at international level, many deliberations, discussion, brainstorming have taken place, and alignment of parameters with, first is identification of parameters, and secondly aligning those parameters internationally. That is how frameworks are made and they are implemented nationally. So first our journey is from local to national and aligned with global. So it is a journey of local to global through national. This is what, and for that, the instruments for implementation of NEP have come out and they are binding and mandatory for each of the institutions, whether autonomous or university or anybody. So there are basically today we will be discussing three important framework. One is credit framework, second is qualification framework, and third is learning outcome based curriculum framework. So let us understand credit framework. So this document, National Credit Framework, which has come out in April 2023, you will find it is prepared by Government of India, Ministry of Education, University Grant Commission, AICT. You will find everybody in school education and higher education, all regularity, authorities, statutory bodies, government, everybody is on one platform and jointly this document has come out. So that is one thing which very clearly shows it is applicable to a UGC institutions as well as AICT institutions. So Pote College also, Mahila College also. And what does it states? So first, the terminology we should understand before we understand the, you can say, credit is learning outcome. Everything is based on learning outcome and they are the granular milestones of learning and usually progress in sequence leading to attainment of competency. So this framework also will mandate us to ensure that these milestones are achieved and they are sequential, ultimately competency will be achieved. And these interim markers of learning achievements are needed so that teachers can observe, track learning, respond to the needs of learners continually. And this, you can say, markers are learning outcomes. So this word will be required to understand future all frameworks, including the credit framework. Now, this credit framework is based on basic principle that, see, our concept of credits are presently very much misunderstood, whether it was in choice-based credit system or implementation of NEP. See, how credits are to be given, they are the function of achieving the desired learning outcomes determined by successful assessment. So what are the important things? Successful assessment is important. Setting the learning outcome and accomplishment, attainment of those learning outcomes, along with duration of learning, etc. But these are the integral part of awarding credit. So credit framework is based on this principle and the various components or dimensions of credit, from where credits can be on from wherever learning happens. Maybe completed academic education, vocational education, training, skilling, experiential learning. So wherever learning happens, maybe sports, maybe culture, maybe ball competition, maybe any form of wherever learning happens, credits can be earned. Now, once from where learning credits can be earned, how learning credits can be earned, I think this is important for us to understand. For every 1200 hours of learning, students can earn 40 credit. What does it mean? It means earlier we used to talk one academic session. When the word one academic session used to come in mind, we used to talk June to May. जब भाई जून से जुलाई से कॉलेज शुरू होगा, अप्रैल एंड को खत्म होगा, that is our academic year. Perfectly okay now. Second thing, we used to say 2 semesters, first semester and second semester together means one academic year. Okay, NEP does not touch that also. Then third thing came 180 teaching days means one academic session, 1 year. So 90 teaching days, one semester, 90 teaching days, another semester, together 180 teaching days means one academic year. Perfect. But additionally, NEP and credit framework says one academic year means minimum 1200 hours of learning. And for that, each of us should understand when we frame the syllabi, particularly teaching learning scheme, equivalency of one program with other program, of one university with other university, one institute with other institute. The one of the documents will be this. When we say one semester must show minimum learning hours of 600. We call it minimum teaching days or learning days of 90. Minimum learning weeks of 1515. Therefore, minimum learning hours per week, 600 upon 15, that is 40. What is the takeaway for us? That when we prepare teaching learning scheme, total of teaching hours, contact hour, lecture, tutorial, practical, LTP, and then we convert it into credit. So total of LTP for one subject and for all subjects together should not be less than 35 if our academic calendar is of 17 weeks. So our syllabus framing starts with looking at our academic calendar. If our academic calendar is of 17 weeks, our minimum learning hours per week should be 40, shown as 40, 35 in our syllabus. If the teaching weeks are 15, minimum learning hours shown in our teaching learning scheme should be 40. In many of the syllabi, learning hours are shown as 22, 24. Those are engagement hours. Along with engagement hours, what comes under learning hour? 15, 16 types of learning hours are given in this, you can say, document. Even assessment is part of learning hours. Home assignment is a part of learning hours. So our teaching learning scheme should not show less than 40. Say, if I consider 15 weeks in a semester, it must show our learning hours as 40. If it is 17, then we can show 35. That is why in government resolution, which is implemented in university and colleges, very clearly, many have not looked into that GR wording. Minimum weekly learning hours should be 35. It is mentioned in GR also. And that figure of 35 comes from 600 learning hours per semester. Now, what is irony? Dhoka kuthe hai? If our university examinations take lot many time, and our record shows that our teaching days, learning days, and learning hours were less than 600 between two examinations. In that case, our very examination, our learning, our certification, our degree can be challenged. The basic fundamental premise is that minimum 600 learning hours only will mean earning of 20 credits. Presently, what we are doing, we have given 2022 credit. So passing the examination equal to 2022 credits. This is our definition. That is wrong. Along with passing the examination, minimum learning of 600 has also to be ensured. Then and then 20 credits can be awarded. So we, the teachers, with the institution, with the university, have to immediately correct ourselves in terms of examination duration and academic calendar. And when we say that we are NEP compliant institution or university, it means our each semester is shown and we are able to demonstrate that we have 600 learning hours. That is why we are giving 22 credits to our students. So this is important part for credit framework. So let me repeat importance of credit. Now credit means 15 hours of theory or 15 hours of tutorial per semester is equal to one credit. So weekly, if I am having 3 hours of theory, I will say that it is a 3 credit course. If I am for practicals, practicum, fieldwork, etc., 30 hours of learning will entail student to earn 1 credit. So if I am having 30 hours of practical or practicum per semester, then that practical or practicum will be of 2 credit. My weekly learning hours should not be less than 35, 36, provided I have got 17 weeks in my academic calendar. I cannot have generally more than 40 learning hours because minimum learning weeks are 15. So 600 divided by 15, 40. And you can say that 40 learning hours are equivalent to 20 credits. So when we say that our syllabi is of minimum 20 and maximum 22 credit per semester, it means we are stamping that we have minimum 600 learning hours, and that have to be established, that have to be demonstrated that yes, we do have 600 learning hours and so many weeks of learning. So now marks are nothing to do with, you can say, credit, but attainment of learning outcome, duration of learning, these two are important to enable students to earn credit. So this is the important part of the credit framework. There are many things, but since we are very well versed with the term credit for CBCS as well as in NEP, I thought this much I should highlight that 600 learning hours we have to ensure it through our document, through our syllabi, through our you can say teaching learning scheme, that we are undergoing 600 learning hours. So 1 year means 1200 learning hours, and accordingly 40 credits we are giving. So this is the summary for credit framework. And nobody can cross, no institute can say that we do not follow 15 hours as per semester as 1 credit for theory or tutorial. Everybody will be having around 15 only. So this is standardization, and everybody will have 600 learning hours per semester to give 20 to 22 credit and 1200 learning hours to give 40 to 44 credit. So, and learning hours means along with, you can say, our academic hours, skilling hours, value hours, cultural hours, sports hours, wherever learning happens, their credits can be given. Now for evaluation, now for how to give credits for cultural, how to give for, so evaluation part that time we will check. But here, concept of credit is very clear, and one semester means 600 learning hours and 20 credit. And 1 week means 35 to 40 credits. Now, where is the freedom? Now you divide this 30, 35, 40 credit hours amongst various heads or verticals of your NEP. So, Avinash sir, anything I am missing for credit?
No, sir.
Okay, so should I go for
Yes, sir. Please.
Okay. Now, second part is qualification framework. Again, the document I have shown, it is a public document. If we go through this document from concepts to implementation, this booklet, you will find how much international interactions, brainstormings, and conferences have taken before bringing it to India. So as I was saying, this concept is also alignment with international standard. So let us understand three terms here. What is qualification? What is qualification framework? And what is national qualification framework? So three terms are very clearly defined. Now this will help us to design, to impart, and to assess before giving any qualification. As per this document, what we generally perceive, same definition is given. Qualifications are formal awards with discipline-free nomenclature. So like certificate, diploma, bachelor degree, master degree, and doctor degree. So as far as concept of qualification, they are all discipline-free. So whether you are humanities, engineering, the nomenclature will remain same. Now important, qualifications are awarded after assessment and evaluation of learning levels. So qualification is mapped with level. Who will assess? Conducted by competent authority. What that competent authority will assess? Achievement of expected learning outcome to the given standard. So when we design any qualification, we will have to set certain standard. We will have to set certain expected learning outcome. We have to set mechanism of assessment by competent authority where students should demonstrate achievement of expected learning outcome. When this is done, then only the word qualification or awarding some qualification comes into picture. Second thing, each qualification is aligned to academic credit system, which is based on attainment of learning outcome and academic workload of student. As I was saying, 600 learning hours, that is academic workload. Who complete the chosen program? So what are the things when we talk about qualification? Learning hours of the student, attainment of learning outcome, assessment by competent authority. When these things are done, then qualifications are to be awarded. Now, many times question comes, I will run my own program, some skilling program, I will give certification, and will it be acceptable? If the test of 4 is there, then it is acceptable. Are you designated as competent authority? Presently, it says college or university, but let us take for certain program, take permission or you can say certificate from university that you are competent to award this certificate or conduct this program, and ensure that program clearly specifies learning hours, learning outcome, mechanism of assessment to ensure attainment of learning outcome. If those test of 4 is passed, then only qualification is to be given. Now imagine the way we award certificate, diploma, degrees, postgraduate in university. How many changes will be required? Why? Because it will signify competence to follow occupational practice. Now, once we have understood the term qualification, second term qualification framework, and then third term national qualification framework. Now, what is qualification framework as per the instrument of NEP? It is a way of structuring existing and new qualifications, which are defined by learning outcome, reflecting attributes, and that is program learning outcome and course learning outcome. Now, what are those outcomes? They will be in the form of statements of what learner is expected to know, understand, able to do, demonstrate after successful completion of program. So it is a structuring qualification framework. They say that it will be a form of structuring all qualifications. Now, all those qualifications will be defined as we have already discussed a few minutes back. Now, these qualifications will have to be certain specifications. Now, those specifications are general statements. And for each of that qualification, there will be 5-6 general statements. And then that qualification will be certificate, diploma, etc. So for certificate, there will be 5-6 statements. For diploma, there will be statement. For doctoral, there will be statement. And achievement of those statements is, and they will be structured in a way, it will be called as qualification framework. Now, for competency-based education as well as for training, this will be the important aspect for this framework. Now, this framework will be knowledge, skills, values, and attitudes possessed or acquired by individual students. They are more important than modes of acquiring them. Very, very alarming statement in this NHEQF. Mode of acquiring is not important, but possessing this attribute is important. What does it mean? It is offline, accepted. Face-to-face, accepted. Online, accepted. Blended, accepted. Open way, accepted. Non-going to any institution, accepted. Formal, accepted. Informal, accepted. Non-formal, accepted. How an individual acquires attribute is not important, but once attributes are acquired, then it will be tested for how many hours he has learned. From where is not important. So once that qualification test is passed, appropriate qualification will be given and it will be put under that framework. This is the concept of qualification framework. Now, before we go to national qualification framework, let us in one slide understand international qualification framework. Why, sir, I was saying that we cannot cross the frame because everything is aligned with international framework. India has adopted Bologna process. It is European higher education framework and it is most of the countries. This framework is accepted. So our national qualification framework is aligned with international, that is Bologna framework. And the descriptors in Bologna framework are called as Dublin descriptors. India has also accepted similar to those 5 parameters only and similar to Dublin descriptors, our descriptors are also there. So we will not go much anymore into this international qualification framework. Only we have to understand that our national framework is aligned with international framework through Bologna process or Dublin descriptors. So in alignment with Bologna process and Dublin descriptor, we have our own national qualification framework. We have understood what do we mean by qualifications now. We have understood what do we mean by qualification framework. Let us understand national framework and it answers Avinash sir's question also. This NQF is instrument of what? Classification of qualifications according to the set of criteria for specified levels of learning achieved. It will integrate and coordinate qualifications from each and every training center into a single comprehensive qualification framework. So National Qualification Framework is a single comprehensive qualification framework, whether you are in academic education, whether you are in vocational education, whether you are in technical education, whether you are in professional education sector, whatever may be the professional education sector. When you say certificate, when you say diploma, when you say degree, when you say postgraduate, when you say doctorate, it will be put structured into single comprehensive framework. It means they will have same specification, same credit framework. So everything will be uniform, irrespective of the faculty, irrespective of the type of education, whether it is skilling or whether it is academic, no matter. It will be put into a single comprehensive qualification framework. So again, I say that qualification framework will be uniform or to be followed by each and everybody. In between this, we can change as per our requirement, but fundamental framework will not change. Presently in India, 4 types of qualification frameworks are involved. Before 2013 itself, NVQF, that is National Vocational Qualification Framework, was in existence. Then came National Vocational Education Qualification Framework. Even NSQF, National Skill Qualification Framework, was there before implementation of AGP. But after 2020, NSQF and NHQF are aligned with each other. And for us, NHQF is important. And this NHQF is extension of NSQF. So let us slightly understand NSQF, and then we will go into detail for NHQF. This NSQF, that is National Skills Qualification Framework, it is notified on 6 June 2023. It is outcome and competency-based framework. It organizes qualifications according to the series of levels of everywhere. It is level-based education, knowledge, skill, aptitude, responsibility. So domains are very clear in terms of learning outcome, which the learner must acquire either through formal or non-formal or informal learning. It may comprise of academics and vocational education, integration ho gaya, training and skilling, as well as experiential learning, including relevant experience and proficiency. Now, NSQF incorporates provisions laid down in NEP and credit framework. So this is the fundamental document on which the framework which is applicable to us, that is National Higher Education Qualification Framework, is there. I think 1.5 hours is over. I promised to have 5 minutes tea break. So it's time for that. Just I revise it because now we will be understanding NHEQF, which is NSEQF is also applicable to us. So we have understood now domains of education, levels of education. We have understood qualification. It has to be given on test of 4, and the qualifications are structured, so we get qualification framework. We have gone for international alignment. So with Bologna process and Dublin descriptors, India has also decided its qualification framework. Presently, there are 4 types of qualification framework. We have taken aligned NHEQF, which is more applicable to we in higher education people. NSQF is for skilled people, ITIs and polytechnics and vocational education, more skill education, sector skill council. But we in university system, NHEQF will be applicable. Of course, it is completely aligned with NSQF, but important part is it is a single comprehensive framework. It will based upon qualification, and qualifications will based upon descriptors or specifications, level-wise descriptor, competency, and attainment of those competency and learning outcome. If this test of 4 is satisfied, then qualification will be given. Qualification will be mapped with level, and according to the level, whatever qualifications are given, they are structured one above other. So from lower, you can always go up and up. So certificate, diploma, degree, in that way, with each description they are provided. And this qualification framework is in alignment with international. So detail of specifications, mapping with qualification, mapping with level, expected learning outcome with each level which are the fundamental things for designing, whether I am designing syllabus for first year or second year or third year for PG or final of PG. Everything will depend upon the level in which I am operating, the specifications given at national level through this framework. Here, mapping we can do, but deciding specifications we cannot do. Those specification statements are given for each of the domain. We will understand those specifications, and then we will see how I can frame my syllabus, how I can deliver that syllabus, how can I examine my student so that everything maps with the already pre-decided specifications, benchmarking and standard. This is the way of implementing NEP. So let us take break for 5-10 minutes for tea. Then we will continue with NHEQF. Sir, is it okay?
Sure, sir. We'll have break for 10 minutes. So right at 3:40, we'll resume again.
Right, sir. Thanks.
Thank you.
आता 11 महिन्याची होईल. काही विषय
Sir, if you permit, should we start?
Sir, please.
Yeah. Okay. So welcome back, everybody. So we had understood qualification framework, qualifications, levels. So how it is being implemented for higher education, that is National Higher Education Qualification Framework. So this is the document. Again, it is a public document. Anybody can go and understand it. Now this, whether it is NSQF or NHQF, we will go by a word NHQF henceforth. It is the instrument for development of classification and recognition of qualification along a continuum level of 4.5 to 8 for higher education. In fact, it is from 1 to 8, but 1 to 4 is for school education and 4.5 to 8 is for higher education. So earlier when we used to call 12 standard student, 12 pass, HSSC pass, now henceforth it will also be called as level completed level 4. And for our higher education, first year what we generally call is now will be called as 4.5 and research as 8. Now each level, we will see how it is divided from 4.5, 5.5 like that. But each level will represent different level of skill complexity, knowledge, responsibility, autonomy required to demonstrate competence, commensurating with that level. Level 1 of this framework represents the lowest complexity, while highest level, that is level 8, it represents the highest complexity. So as we go from lower level to higher level, the complexity in terms of all the domains which we have already discussed earlier, and the autonomy required to perform, that is responsibility one can take up, that goes on increasing as we go from one level to another level. The key points are each level will lead to certain qualification, and that qualification will be mapped in terms of learning outcome. So level, qualification, and expected learning outcomes, attainment of learning outcome. These are three things to be followed when we say that we are following NHQF. Now, each level will be based on the statement what the learner is expected to know, understand, and able to do on successful completion of the approved program at that level, specified level. The student will have to demonstrate the attributes defined in terms of those expected learning outcome, whether acquired through any mode, direct, in face-to-face, open, distance. So mode is not important. So when student earn the credit from distant learning, open learning, face-to-face, or hybrid, or blended, or experientially, mode will not be same as long as expected learning outcome or attributes are there. It will be considered as equivalent. This is important part of this thing. Now, these descriptors, which I am specifying for last few couple of minutes, they will be, of course, for all three domains. For each domain, that is cognitive in both, you can say both components of knowledge also, procedural knowledge, descriptive knowledge also. For each component and for each domain, for each level, there will be certain descriptors or specifications in this education framework. Now, this described in terms of 5 statements, means number of statements in 5 classes. Now, what are those classes in which specifications are given depending upon each level? So, level, suppose 4.5. So, it will be described for process, professional knowledge, professional skills, core skills, and responsibility. So, for these 5 classes, the statements will be given in for each level. So, when we say level, we mention certain level, it will be specified with various statements in these 5 classes. Say, for example, process. First, it will comprises of general summary of other 4 domains corresponding to that level. We will see how it is given also. First, let us understand those classes. Second class is professional knowledge class. That is cognitive domain class, both descriptive as well as procedure. What statement will be given for this second class also? It is what a learner should know and understand with reference to the subject or field of knowledge. It will describe in terms of depth, breadth, kind of knowledge and complexity. For example, when I say level 4.5, I take a subject, say physics. For that level, I should very clearly specify to what depth, breadth, and various types of physics I should explain in level 4.5. Same subject physics, if I take it for level 5.5, there I will have to specify what is the depth of the subject physics, what is the breadth, which various types areas of physics and their complexity. Obviously, all these things for level 4.5 will be low, while level 5.5 it will be very high. So in that way, description has to be given. Now, this depth of knowledge can be general or specialized. Breadth of knowledge can range from single topic to multidisciplinary area. Kind of knowledge range from concrete to abstract, segmented to cumulative, and complexity will refer on combination of kind, depth, and breadth. So this is how for each of these, you can say parameter, statements will be given according to the level. Third class is again, these are similar to Dublin descriptors. They are taken from Dublin descriptor. Now, third descriptor is regarding professional skills. That is psychomotor domain, second domain. Psychomotor domain, skill domain. That is what a learner should be able to do. Second one was what the learner should be able to comprehend. Here, what a learner should be able to do. It may be cognitive or creative skills. It has to be communication skills. It can be interpersonal skills. So on these three, the statements will be given in second class, that is professional skills domain, psychomotor skill domain. Now, fourth class in which specifications are given is core skills. It will talk about basic skills involving dexterity and use of method, material, tool, instrument used for performing the job, including IT skills needed for a given level of study and work. So for level, say 4.5, it will be expectation of basic skill with regard to this parameter will be different. As against as we go to higher level, skills requirement in same, but it will specifications will be altogether different, and we have to devise our syllabus, design our syllabus depending upon that expected statements. The last class is responsibility, that the learner can be entrusted on their own, that is on basis of behavior or affective domain. What does it state? It will state about degree of supervision that person needs when doing a job. Say, for example, as level 4.5, a person may require certain supervision. The person may be responsible for own work. But when he goes to level 5.5, along he will not only be supervised, he will have to supervise others also. And he may not be responsible only for own work, but he will be responsible for teamwork also. So that has to be very clearly, we have to specify depending upon the level in this domain also. What does it determine? It determines nature of working relationship, level of responsibility for self and others. It determines the capability of managing change and accountability of action. So in these 5 classes, specifications are to be given. Now, with this background, let us understand how levels are related with qualification, how qualifications are related with qualification descriptors, in a way, how levels are related with qualification and qualification descriptors. So this is what is the NHEQF. Now, level and qualification. Level 4.5 means undergraduate certificate. What does it mean? We call it first year of program. So now henceforth, our first year of program, we will say that it is semester 1 and 2. Okay. Now, along with first year or first semester 1 and 2, we will call it as level 4.5 program. And it is backed with qualification framework of certificate. So when we say level 4.5, we will mean that it is a certificate level. we will understand that it consists of 2 semesters. And if the student exit after 2 semesters, it means after earning 40 credits or after undergoing 1,200 learning hours. So I repeat, what do we mean by level 4.5? Level 4.5 means 1,200 learning hours. It will mean 40 credits, earning 40 credits. It means completing first 2 semesters. And if the student opt to go out, it means he will be enabled to earn certificate as qualification. Now we know that qualification means assessment by competent authority and demonstration of learning outcomes. This is what mean by now qualification. Similarly, it will be level 5 will be diploma. It means semester 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4. It means 2,400 learning hours. It means minimum 80 credits earning. It will mean minimum 2 years duration. And if the student goes out, qualification of diploma can be given, which means assessment by competent authority, demonstration of learning outcomes of level 5. If all these parameters are met, then the student will be awarded with qualification diploma. Similarly, for 5.5, 6, 6.5, and finally 8 is for doctoral degree. So each level is mapped with qualification, mapped with learning hours, mapped with credit, mapped with attainment of certain, you can say, specification, which we will see now. This is how the structuring is done. Now, levels, qualifications, and expected learning outcome. This is what is that way final document for NHEQF for us to understand. Say end of first year. What do we mean by first year now in terms of NEP and NHEQF or NSQF? It means certificate level course. It means level 4.5. And what is expected at level 4.5? In knowledge domain, cognitive domain, fact, principle, processes, and concept. Then in case of procedural skills and practical skills, to complete the task assigned, solve problem by selecting and applying basic methods. Remember, this is what it should be our approach toward designing first year's syllabus, teaching first year syllabus, or assessing the student for first year. They should be able to select and apply basic method, basic tool, basic material, and basic information. Core skill, basic mathematical skills if they are applicable, collecting, organizing information, and communication. Then at other class, that is there, you can say professional skills or core skills, they should be able to carry out in a familiar situation where problems may arise. They should be able to make choices about best procedure to adopt to address problem where choices are clear. See, this is what is expected in certificate level. They will be responsible for completion of their own work. They will be expected to be a learner, and should be able to improve their performance on the job. They will require well-developed practical and cognitive skill, the complete repetitiveness. Whatever is taught to them, they should be able to apply their skill on similar situation anytime and continually. And there will be some responsibility toward others' work. And their job will be something like fully skilled workers or supervisor. So certificate level 4.5, person completing 1,200 learning hours, earning 40 credits, will be at par with fully skilled worker and supervisor. And these are the specifications for that level. Similarly, if we go to level 5 diploma, you will find now knowledge becomes in broad context. Now cognitive practical skill will be to find solutions, logical communication, specialized technical skill, clarity of knowledge, awareness of standard and non-standard practices. You will find these specifications go on increasing, communicate clearly in speech, writing, and apply mathematical processes. Now here they will be not only able to collect, but they should be able to collect, organize, and communicate information they should be able to solve problem by selecting up and applying various methods, tools, material, and information. And they are expected to know the previous knowledge, that is certificate level knowledge of supervisor level knowledge in that occupation. And this is how they will be expected to, all these specifications are very clearly for diploma holders also. When we go to level 5.5, that is degree level, the word C, now command and proficiency. This is what should be expected from third year student. After going through third year, it is expected that they have got command and proficiency, the routine as well as non-routine context, factual, theoretical knowledge, wide range of practical skills to find solution, mathematical skills, presentation skills, use of both standard, non-standard practices, broad range of work required in specialized technical skills, backed by clear factual and theoretical knowledge, and they will be responsible for their own work. They should be learner, they should be able to improve their performance, and they should be able to take full responsibility of other works and learning. And those people are maybe termed as junior level manager or master technician or trainers of that level with the level 5.5. So these are, you can say, the degree level people, and this is what they are expected. These are their specifications for their course. So if I compile all these level wise and domain wise descriptor, you will find that suppose knowledge and understanding is the descriptor, then level 4.5, which is undergraduate, their understanding of linkage between learning area within and across chosen is expected. While when they are at level 5, that is second year or undergraduate diploma, completing 2,400 hours of learning, what is expected in this domain is deeper knowledge and understanding of one of the learning areas. That is why in our syllabus, in first year, students have got 2-3 subjects. In second year level, they choose one of the subject as major. And whatever subject is chosen as major, it is expected that they get deeper knowledge and understanding of that one of the learning areas means major with underlying principle. When they go to, you can say, next level, third year, knowledge of current as well as emerging issues within the chosen field. Now, breadth as well as depth of subject goes on increasing, even if we take the single element of descriptor knowledge. If we take skilling, then you will find that it is descriptor is application of knowledge and skill. Here you will find that they are expected to select and use basic methods, tools, material. While in diploma, they are expected to apply basic method, tool, material, and formulate solution. If we go to third year, employ right approach to generate solution problems. So they, in other field also, they should be able to apply the approach. So they should have, they should know various ways, various methods. And out of that, what is best to a given problem, the student should be able to apply, select. This is what is expected. Now, skills, if I take element of skills required to perform, at diploma level, it is expected that student is able to identify and analyze. While it goes to diploma level, to generate solutions. And if he goes to third year, that is degree level, then the student is expected to evaluate and analyze the complex idea. So Bloom's technology, evaluation, analysis, those parts comes when the student comes to level 5.5 or after 3,600 learning hours or attaining degree or completing level 5.5. These are the things expected. Similar, the clear specifications for employment ready skills or entrepreneur skills as it goes from certificate to diploma and diploma to degree level 4.5 to 5 and 5 to 5.5, we will find that the specifications go on higher level as it changes. In case of affective domain also, constitutional, humanistic, or ethical or moral value, in level certificate, 1200 learning hour, level 4.5, it is expected that whatever value system is told, the student should be able to imbibe and apply. While if it goes to level 5.5, student should be able to generate the value system required. So here, important is not only following, but you can say formulating the policies is the expectation specification for level 5.5, while for undergraduate certificate, it is expected that the student adopt, embrace the constitutional and you can say ethical and moral values. So when we will impart value education, maybe through certain programs or you can say various activities or various sessions expected from first year student, and their assessment should be whether they have understood, whether they are following it or not. But when it comes to third year student, in their organizational capacity, in their project work, in their sports, we will have to ensure and observe whether students are able to inculcate and make it imbibe in others also those values or not. So when we assess, every activity we'll have to assess and we'll have to give point or grading A, B, C, D by observing every individual student, and we should improve the inculcation. See, one simple example I can give, we generally give assignments and few students really do the assignments, others simply copy. And we as a teacher, what we do, we assess all assignments fully very well known that most of the students have copied. Not only we assess, we give marks and we send same marks to university also. Up till now, probably it was okay. But tomorrow, probably we will be accountable. And if some plagiarism is found, somebody is doing and others are copying. Or in sports, somebody is really performing, others are taking credit. In NSS, few are only showing off when some committee comes, otherwise they are not doing. So will have to be given for all such observation. We will have to give opportunity to improve. And when we give any credit, we will have to justify that these were the observations. Maybe some is likes to copy. So obviously credits are not given unless he improves. So that type of value education will be the regular part of it. Most difficult part for academic and laboratory, we are very well aware. But for evaluation of seminar, co-curricular activities, constitutional activity, where such type of descriptions is to be followed with, probably our evaluation technique will need lot of improvement. But as a qualification framework, these are the points to be considered when we impart our education. Now coming to whatever discussions we had, that NEP education means in 3 domains, that too of various levels, various modes of learning, experiential learning, from where the credits can be given, from co-curricular. Based on that, verticals of our curriculum are given. Now you will understand why major or minor, core or electives, or why for open electives. So very clearly it says that exposure to many disciplines and going in depth about 1 or 2 areas. So this is the concept of major and minor subject. The concept a student learns from 2 things, one for career point of view, other from passion or interest point of view. As per the interest of the student, the word is there. That is why open elective. As per the interest, it is to be multidisciplinary. That is why it is said that for open elective, the subject must be from other than the faculty of major or minor. Then and then it will become the multidisciplinary. So this internship field based, because more thrust is to be given by working on job model and experiential learning. Social outreach is important. That is why NSS and this thing important. You life skills, because it talks about, you can say, value education. So based on whatever discussions we had, you will find that verticals and components of all subjects are given. So we need not worry why so many components, because this is the mandate. And all these components get aligned with the mandate of NEP. And it will be common. In this, what is to be taken may remain with the autonomy or with the, but verticals we cannot change. Credits, total credits we cannot change. 40 credit 1 year, 2 year 80, 3 years 120, 4 years 160. So 20 to 22, it is a framework. Nobody can change. Nobody can say that my syllabus is, the semester syllabus is of less than 20 credits or more than 22. Nobody can say that I will have less than 600 learning hours per semester or less than 1200 learning hours. It is minimum. More one can have. There is possibility of earning more credit. Mode of learning. Nobody can deny anybody opportunity to learn from formal, informal, non-formal, open or classroom. So mode of learning is not important. So this is and specifications are very clear. And final part for our today's discussion is now outcome based, that is learning outcome based curriculum framework. So we have understood credit framework, we have understood qualification framework, we have will be discussing now curriculum framework. Sir, just 1 minute I will take a break. If, because we are only taking bird's eye view. So any doubt, anything you will like to add regarding credit framework or qualification framework or qualification, those specifications, because those are something which nobody can change. It is the framework. Within that, anybody can framework. Whatever statements are given in those 5 areas, process, professional knowledge, core skills, professional skills, responsibilities, in those 5 classes, depending upon level, whatever statements are given, specifications are given, those are common for everybody in the country and they are aligned with international. Credits defined, no, we cannot say that in my case, less than 15 hours will be my theory 1 credit. No, it cannot be. Nobody can say I can have a syllabus less than 600 learning hours per semester or 1200 learning hours per year. So those are fixed. So this is the framework under which we have to operate. So 2 frameworks I tried to explain, credit framework and qualification framework. Anything you want to add, sir, please, or anybody wants to know whatever little bit I can tell more, please ask.
Sir, I wish to add a comment of mine related to the framework and the subjects which you have explained. In my opinion, what I find is that now usually we find that there is an argument that now number of subjects are introduced and how then students will be able to cope up with this new system and how they will be able to complete the things. I think this is again the procedural part. What I personally feel is that now we have nominated the things in a framework which you have explained. Earlier also, in the traditional way, when we were learning or we were doing the things, we were taking our education, and in the later part also, all these things were done. I mean, we have accommodated all these things in the framework. What we have done is that we have now nominated it properly. So, for example, developing certain skills. Now, as per the new the changes in the society, new skills are needed. That is okay. But earlier also skills were needed, and we were provided with the skills. So everything was done. Now we are nominating it in a good way. The framework which you have very nicely explained. And that is what I personally feel is that now nothing to worry about it. I mean, not to fear about the things. Only thing is that wholehearted acceptance to the things and then going with this, keeping in the mind that students will be benefited the most. That is to be kept in mind. That is what I personally feel in this regard, sir.
Yes, sir. Very true, sir. Only one thing I will like to again add to it. Now it is more structured.
Yes.
That is the only thing that earlier we were not very much sure what do we mean by 90 teaching days. Now it is further detailed into hours. Now earlier we used to say 90 teaching days one semester. Now we will say no, 600 learning hours means one semester, number one. And second thing, 600 learning hours means 20 credits. That is also more detailing has been done. And credits have to be given when this test of 4 is passed. These are the only how credits have to go. Now, problem is when we are having 40% internal assessment and 60% external assessment. Responsibility on us of giving, when we say that 60%, 40% weightage. If I just equivalency wise says that credit work, what work, academic work is expected. 40% assessment is done at college level, which is a competent authority. Now responsibility to ensure when we do internal assessment, probably our test paper may be put to the check at any time. Now, if we are giving, suppose out of 40 marks to somebody 39 and somebody 30, earlier we were not questioned. Now, tomorrow, accountability may come and show us that students have accomplished learning outcomes. And if you are setting question for third year and if you are setting question for first year, what is the level you have set for 4.5 and what is the level for 5.5? And corresponding to that level, our question framing will be there. If my internal assessment question paper has questions more on discuss, explain, define, state, probably we will be under question because it is the lowest memorizing level. They will expect us to have questions like judge, evaluate, compare, more that type of questions rather than explain, describe, draw, state. So this is what will be the change. And in syllabus framing also, those who will frame syllabus for first year, they will have to ensure that it should not be too deep or too broad. While as they go for the same subject to second year, depth and breadth will increase, and in final year, it will be too much depth and too much broad for that subject. That type of deeper knowledge of one subject, depending upon the level, that type of thought process will have to go when we design, impart, or assess. That is what is the thing, only conceptual understanding. Otherwise, we are doing it, but now it will have to be more streamlined and we will have to prove, demonstrate that we are going with those specifications. Like suppose any product is made in company, they have got Indian standard or British standard, and they show that, okay, my product really matches with those standards and specifications. Similarly, now education also will have to be proven that it matches with certain specifications given. So mapping with those specifications, which are, we do not have authority to change those specifications now. Those specifications are given. That is what is the change only with what we were doing earlier and now what we will be doing. And equal weightage, earlier we were definitely giving skilling or behavioral things, but now it will be with well-directioned way. And when we say vocational education means, it will have to be shown we have identified certain occupation where my student can go, and to suit the skill sets required for that occupation, we are designed this course and we are imparting. It cannot go without philosophy or without purpose of giving any course. Those changes will come. So lot of thought process and think tanks will be required at each level before designing anything and implementing. This is the only thing I feel. It will be more specified things henceforth. I hope, sir.
बरोबर आहे सर. म्हणजे विस्कळीत होतं ते आता
हा.
स्ट्रक्चर्ड करून त्यांनी आउटकम डोक्यात ठेवून करायचं आता असं.
येस येस. पहिले सांगायला गेले कशासाठी करतो, कशासाठी करतो, आणि मग ते बघायचं ज्याच्यासाठी करणार होतं ते केलं की नाही, ते साध्य झालं.
करेक्ट. म्हणजे तो फॉलोअप देखील त्याच्यात ठेवलेला आहे त्यांनी तो.
येस येस.
महत्वाचं.
येस.
करेक्ट सर. थँक्यू.
So let us come to the last part of our framework today. That is learning outcome based curriculum.
Excuse me, sir. Excuse me, sir.
Yeah, ma'am. Yes.
I would like to ask a question, sir. May I?
Please, ma'am. Please.
Hello. I'm Sujata Widrom from the Manipur Institute of Culture from Manipur.
Yes.
So, sir, I would like to know that the minimum hours of each paper for a semester. Sir, you have mentioned that 90 hours is the minimum hours, right?
No, ma'am. Hours per semester means, suppose earlier, one semester means we used to talk of 90 teaching days means one semester. That is our definition of one semester.
Okay.
Now, those 90 teaching days will get converted into 90 learning days. So, word teaching, please change it to learning, number one. And second thing, now days are further detailed into hours also. So, one semester is equivalent to minimum 600 learning hours. Second thing, even one semester is further divided into weeks, and one semester means minimum 15 weeks. So one semester means minimum 600 learning hours and minimum 15 weeks. So 600 divided by 15. So 1 week will be minimum 40 learning hours. So this is what we have to keep in mind when we either design our curriculum, syllabus, or teaching learning schemes. Everything we have to ensure that our weekly learning hour for student for 15 weeks should not be less than 40 per week, and our semester should not be less than 600 learning hours. Once these two conditions are fulfilled, then we can say that, okay, students is able to earn 20 credits. So these three things have to be linked before we award 20 credits per semester. Is it okay, ma'am? Should I go ahead?
Thank you, sir. I have one more question, sir.
Yeah.
For doctoral degree, sir, for the coursework, do the students need to enroll for registration for ABC ID?
For doctoral, presently I am not fully aware, so I may not be able to answer for what is there for doctoral. But for undergraduate and postgraduate, I am reasonably aware. So probably for doctoral, I should not take question in this forum.
Okay, sir. Thank you very much.
Yeah. So, sir, should I go ahead? Yes.
Yes, sir, please.
Yeah. So now the learning outcome based curriculum framework. Now this document is also in public domain. So that is why I have displayed it for everybody's convenience. Now, what are the fundamental principle of curriculum planning and you can say curriculum planning and development for us? That learning outcome based curriculum framework is a framework based on expected learning outcome and standard. See, so fundamentally, when we design a framework, we should first write what are their expected learning outcome and the standards that are to be attained by graduate for a given qualification or level. So it will include attributes, qualification descriptors, as I already explained, learning outcomes and course learning outcome. So this curriculum framework will have essentially 4 parts. One will be graduate attribute, second will be depending upon that qualification, its description. Program learning outcomes means what the student is expected to have skill when that person goes into actual occupation or profession. Say today I am setting syllabus for first year. I should keep in mind 6-7 years hence where that student will be and what for I am, you can say, making him capable, attributing skills or knowledge in him. Those things have to be put in 2-3 statements. So those have to be given. Then for each course, what for I am teaching this subject. So what are the expected outcome for that course? So in these 3 parts, curriculum will have to be given. So it will have program outcomes or graduate attributes. All of us know NAC and UGC had already given 10-12 program outcomes or attributes. So those are only to be taken and put for our program. Avinash sir, now what you can say we do not have authority. We do not have authority to change those program outcome or attributes. What authority we have got or freedom we have got, those outcomes or attributes have to be properly made suitable for my program. Suppose I am running humanities, some music, so I have to just change those outcomes and suit which is required for my music course or for physics, something like that. Then program educational objectives or program learning outcomes, little bit I will make it similar for today's discussion, is that what are the areas in which my student, I am expecting that he will go and that student will have to perform. So for which area I am preparing the student. So that has to be given in 3-4 statements. And for that, you can say area, and with those attributes, what courses I should give him. So for each course, I will be giving the expected learning outcome. Say, for example, now I want to plan a curriculum for some name of UG program, can be either type A, type B, or type C. Type A means monodiscipline. Say, for example, BSc in chemistry or BA in history. So it is monodiscipline. So it is dedicated to a subject of chemistry under science or subject of history under humanity. Second type will be multidisciplinary, which the state of Maharashtra has accepted. So it will be chemistry as one of the subjects in that science. So there, along with chemistry, there will be 1 or 2 subjects as a minor or other. So it will, the degree will be BSc, major chemistry and minor something. In case of mono, it will be BSc in chemistry. In case of multi, it will be BSc with major in chemistry, or interdisciplinary, where 2 subjects are combined, say robotics or mechatronics, where mechanical engineering and electronics, they are combined together. So it becomes interdisciplinary. So first thing, it should be very clear before curriculum planning, whether we are going for type A, type B, or type C, that is whether I am designing for monodiscipline, multidiscipline, or interdiscipline. Now, once that is clear, second, we have to write program outcome, that is graduate attribute. So those are to be taken from UGC has already given, or NAC has given, or NBA has also given. So we have to pick up those 12 outcomes and only modify it to the program for which we are running. Third is program specific outcome or program learning outcome. It means my student for which area of economy I am preparing, where my student can go. Suppose I am presently it is BA student. He may go for post-graduation, he may go for PhD, he can become a teacher, he can become a professor, he can become a bureaucrat. So areas where you are expecting and for which we are preparing that student, that should be given in 3-4 segments. Say, for example, if I take curriculum framework for monodiscipline course, that is BSc in chemistry. So what are the characteristic attributes for graduate in chemistry? Now they are POs of given by UGC or you can say NAC, and they are tuned for graduate in chemistry. Remember, it is now monodisciplinary. So it will, I will write that disciplinary knowledge and skill, that attribute, that student will have comprehensive knowledge and understanding of major concept, etc., analytical, inorganic, organic, physical, and other related. Thus, student will be able to use modern instrumentation for chemical analysis and separation. Skilled communicator, critical thinker for the, you can say, problem solving skills in 4 basic areas of chemistry like analytical, inorganic, organic. Sense of inquiry, these are all attributes given by UGC or NEP. Only I have tuned it to those program outcomes or graduate attributes for monodisciplinic undergraduate course in chemistry. Now, if I want to specify PLOs, now here you will find that the demonstrate systematic and coherent understanding of the concept in analytical, inorganic, organic, and linkages with other area. Say, second, you will find procedural knowledge, descriptive, first part, procedural, in the field as pharmaceutical, chemical industry, teaching, research, environmental monitoring, product quality, consumer food industry, food product industry, cosmetic industry, etc. Very clearly, I am mentioning where, in which area of economy or education my student is likely to go and what for I am preparing that student. Then skills related to analytical, inorganic, organic. So this is environmental, material science. I am writing this skill PSO or PLO number 3. Fourth is use of, you can say, knowledge or techniques in the field of chemistry or work in chemical or non-chemical industry sector. So I am imparting skills to that student so that the student will be able to work in this field. Then successful career in pharmaceutical, chemical industry, teaching, research, then application in academic, industrial, economic, environmental, and social context. So these are PLOs. I am mentioning the various areas of economy for which my graduate student will be useful. He may go for postgraduate, he may go for research, he may go for environment, he may go for chemical industry, pharmaceutical industry. So this is what are the PLOs. Now, when it comes to course, now learning outcomes for that course. So I will write which level course is there. Suppose semester 4, it means it is level 5. Because level 1 and 2 means 4.5. 4 and 5 are for level 5. So I am writing, after learning this course, student will be able to see, memorize. I have not used anywhere. Recognize, describe, explain, recognize, explain, because it is level 5 course. So understanding and applications are okay. If I would have made this syllabus for levels, you can say 5 and 6 or 6. 5 or 6, that is third year, that is level 5.5. I would have used different verbs for writing course level. So this is how I will be writing. Now, last 10 minutes, after understanding this concept framework, what are pedagogical approaches and evaluation reform so that all domains, all expected learning outcomes as per the levels can be assessed, or teachers can teach to map with the, you can say, level. Here we will not go into detail because a separate session on this parameter, teaching methodology and evaluation and assessment technique, a separate probably session is there. But unless I just touch it, our whole canvas will not get completed, right from fundamental expectations of policy to ultimately taking it to last, that is stakeholder, our student, through teaching methodology and assessment. We know that in this NEP, assessment evaluation is very important component of whether it is credit system or qualification system. So let us see what are the learning mode Number one, they have to be all student-centric. Now, what teacher teaches is not given more important. What learner learns is given important. So everywhere teaching modes are not used, the word learning modes are there. So they can be physical or offline, online, hybrid, or flipped classroom or experiential. Of course, it will be offline, means it can be experiential also. So we have to keep all options open: physical, online, hybrid, or flipped. All options we have to keep it open as mode of learning. We have to adopt inclusive approach because it is individualistic learning. That is the concept of NEP. Every individual is a special and a different, and you have to know your student individually and address its manifestation individually. So for that, the approach has to be inclusive approach even in classroom. So addressing the different learning needs of student within the classroom, institution needs of differently able student too. We have to appreciate difference in learning styles, maybe visual, auditory, or kinesthetic learning style of student. We have to appreciate diversity of background of student in terms of discipline of study, social, economic, cultural, education background, and difference in pace of learning. So slow learner and fast learner, we have to have different approaches. That is the mandate given to us when our access equity, that pillar is there. This is what is expected from we, the final teacher. Now, learning method based. So first, see what is the outcome expected and then use the method. Say 2 examples I have taken. If the learning outcome is sensitization about real problem, if our expected outcome is sensitization about real-time problem, then incorporate field work with an observational study or survey in addition to theoretical grounding. So if I try to sensitize only in classroom lecture, woman sensitization, certain program, but only theoretically, then as per NEP, that will not be accepted. Along with theoretical classroom activity, incorporation of fieldwork will be mandatory. If the aim is to provide hands-on or experiential learning, then field-based, example-based, or project-based learning has to be used. So clear the learning outcome or aim, and according to the learning outcome or aim, we have to use different way of method of teaching and learning. If active engagement of learner is expected in the process, then use collaborative or cooperative learning strategies, group discussion, brainstorming, role play, or case study. So these are the some of the areas. One separate session will be given. That is why I do not go into all these aspects. But I just touch so that teacher has to become a multifaceted now, and we have to use various methods of learning. One of the important method will be flipped classroom. Flipped, as the name suggests, whatever we do in classroom, the student will done as homework, and whatever they do in homework, they will do it as a classroom. So it is best considered to be one of the best ways of self-learning method, and we have to imbibe life learning activities. How to learn is only the teaching method we have to use in many of the sessions. So for self-learning, we have to use flipped classroom. So the various techniques or how flipped classroom is conducted, these sessions will probably separately taken, or it is available also, or if required, we can also separately discuss it. Say few of the examples I will give and will stop. Say graduate attributes is of comprehensive knowledge. Then see, we know knowledge has got 2 components, comprehensive and procedural, descriptive or procedural. For descriptive, classroom lecture is okay, but for procedural knowledge, we'll have to use activity-based learning only. For skills, we have to go only for training, workshop, and vocational internship, apprenticeship. For complex problem solving, analysis of critical incidents originated in familiar or non-familiar decision. Critical thinking, use group discussion, brainstorming, real-life problem, allowing reflection time, integration among students. If it is creativity, stimulus activity, reframing problem, brainstorming, free writing, mind mapping. Communication skills, we are already doing content-based instruction, problem solving, then cognitive learning. Research-related skills have to be imbibed, guided questioning, experimentation, discussion, self-reflection, collaboration, project work. If coordinating and collaborating with each other, that type of skill is to be imbibed in our specification. Peer teaching, group project, group grid, think aloud, pair problem solving, teamwork, decision making. This type of methodologies are to be used depending upon our, you can say, outcome. Suppose I want digital literary skill, use of practical exercises using ICT tools and software. For multicultural competency, interact with diverse group, cultural with diversity focused conferences. So these are all various methods we have to use for value education, storytelling, celebration of days of national importance, for autonomy, responsibility, project work, field work, environmental awareness, field work, project, scenario planning, dramatization, discussion, observation, community engagement, field work, community service, outdoor learning, project management, for empathy, debate, critical incident, storytelling. So these are the various methods we have to use depending upon what attribute we want to achieve. That is also very clearly given in instruments for implementation of NEP. Last and the important is again evaluation and assessment, because we have to ensure that students demonstrate the attainment of learning outcome. Only on demonstration we are supposed to give credit and then qualifications. So these are the mandatory requirement of credit framework and qualification framework. So we have to use various evaluation and assessment techniques. NEP gives more importance to continuous and comprehensive evaluation rather than at and high-stake examination. Second is criteria-based grading system, particularly for assessment in internship, then cultural program, then sports program, human value program. So criteria-based grading has to be given, and learning outcome-based education and evaluation. So these are the three methods suggested. Now it is NEP suggests that adopt continuous comprehensive evaluation rather than high-stake examination. It should be horizontal assessment mode instead of one single vertical mode. It should be used to assess overall development, critical thinking, problem solving, right application of knowledge, and adherence to it. So every time we will have to give some grades or points for every activity. And when certain, suppose 10 points are achieved by student, then you say that, okay, 1 credit equivalent work all he has done. So you have assessed it. So learning hours and its attainment has to be done through these three techniques. Then in criteria-based technique, emphasis is on achievement based on learning goals for each program. And criteria define the characteristics or traits to be judged. So everybody will have to decide what are the criteria or what are the parameters on which we will be judging, and it should be made public to the known to the student. Transparency will be highly required when we have got criteria-based credit system. So this is what is expected. Then outcome-based education, clear picture, what is important for a students to able to do, organized curriculum, instruction and assessment, so that learning ultimately happens. So prescription for evaluation system is this ultimately. Learning outcome drive curriculum, instruction and evaluation. So what students should know and should be able to do by end of the course, you state it. What will you do to get them there? That is our process. And how will you know if they get there? Else, as a feedback, again give them. So this type of identification of outcomes, competencies, performance indicators, and finally assessment of those indicators with this prescription, evaluation system in NEP implementation will go. So outcome, competencies, performance indicator, and identify which type of assessment we should use, what should be the frequency, whether they should be at the daily, at the end of my every class, I will throw some questions to assess, or at the end of say week, I will assess. In some case, at the end of unit, I will assess. In some case, at the end of semester, I will assess. So depending upon frequency and application, that we will have to decide as per criteria, and questions will have to be designed depending upon identifying the outcome and competency and required in that particular subject for a given student. So in case of criteria reference assessment, is the rubrics will have to define, or it can be through portfolios, it can be through peer assessment or self-assessment also. So these are the evaluation and assessment tools. Rubrics will be required for subjects like seminar assessment, or you can say fieldwork assessment, or co-curricular courses assessment. So we will have to design rubrics for, and depending upon the rubrics, that data we will have to keep for each student, and we'll have to ultimately show the attainment and through rubrics. Or portfolios also, it will be depending upon the collection of student work for assessment. And it can be done through technology also. Web-based portfolio are now, techniques are available, tools are available. So portfolio is also one of the important assessment tool in our case. Peer assessment, self-assessment can also be used. Then assessment methods are time constraint exam, closed loop or open book exam, problem-based assignment, practical assignment, observation of practical skills, individual project report, team project, oral presentation, viva voce, computerized adaptive testing, peer and self-assessment, examination on demand, modular certifications. These are all various tools, techniques. Now exactly 7 minutes or 10 minutes are remaining. So as we planned, we will keep 10-15 minutes for our question answer session, interaction, or probably Avinash sir will be able to add, supplement whatever I tried to do, because he is also having very vast knowledge, and we should take advantage of this excellent pool of knowledgeable personality resource with us also. Or there may be many other persons also who can contribute to it. Just to summarize, we started from pillars of NEP, evolution of EAC, then concept of education, types of education, domains of education. Then we had gone to various, you can say, frameworks, credit framework, qualification framework, then the outcome-based education curriculum framework, then assessment tools, teaching, you can say, methodologies, and whatever were our learning outcomes we decided. Probably from my side, I try to complete it, but it will be ultimately UGC or our MMTC may conduct certain examination to assess whether our learning outcomes are attained or not. But since all are already very learned people, and probably it was something refreshing or reorienting the thing. Most of the things you were already knowing, you have implemented it. But let us orient ourselves to achieve the objective of NEP. Friends, it is the journey from local to global, and whatever were weaknesses of our earlier education system, with requirement of time, many new things, but which were already there. They are only well defined and well specified. So it is really learning centric and beneficial for the student. I personally completely endorse objectives, goals, and aim of NEP as required by our young generation. So I fully endorse that NEP academic part of it. Administrative part, restructuring, or I am not competent to comment, but academic part, that outcome-based education in all these three domains and level-based, let us try to implement it and make our young generation capable enough. Let us prepare our student as envisioned in NEP for their happy life, for their economic independent life, and for their future roles. If we are able to do, we will do to our profession we have adopted. So from my side, I put the case down, open for discussion or questions, and sir's intervention and additional advice. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Participants, the forum is open for discussion. If you have any queries or the question or whatever, maybe some kind of observation with regards to this national education policy, you can note down here, please, anywhere. It will be really appreciable if you ask the questions, because rather than lecturing, we are focusing on the discussions. So we are really appreciable if there are some kind of queries or the questions. Please, anyway.
Hello.
Yes, Dr. Vardikar sir, please.
Ah, one question in my side. Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
What is the role of library in NEP?
Sir, it has got a big role to play. If we go for self-learning mode, I have told you that rather than classroom, education is taken out of classroom through various modes. And library will be the knowledge resource center for all the students as far as their self-learning is concerned, project-based learning is concerned, experiential learning concerned, higher order thinking is concerned. So library will have to tighten up their sleeves too much. Now real rush will come to library because teacher will be facilitator, student will be self-learner. And the source of self-learning will only be through either internet or library. So librarians' role will be very great. They should be able to satisfy the needs of the student.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Yes, anyone else?
Let us have comment from Avinash sir. He will be able to add many things, I think.
Yeah.
Nothing to add, sir, but I am so happy to listen to you about this particular topic. What I personally felt is that you have explained these frameworks and the whole system in such a way that everybody who is playing one or the other role who is associated with the institution. Say, for example, I am working as a principal. Now, some of the teachers in our institute are working as board of study members. Some of them are skill trainers. So everybody got something from your lecture, because you have provided a vast canvas of the whole system. So I am really thankful to you for that, because now what I personally feel is that time has come to change the mindset. Now that we are going through a big transition, and that transition gets reflected through the framework which you have suggested, which you have explained in a wonderful manner. I mean, this is the kind of guideline which is needed to proceed with, because now we are competing. Now, as you have rightly pointed out, that in future, we are not exactly known that to whom we are competing with. The things will be like that. We may be competing to some of the candidates, some of the people abroad also. So and technology has brought the things so close, so fast, that time has come to think about all the things, and the thing which I still remember you have mentioned, that now it is up to every institute to find out its own goal and then put it into this framework which you have mentioned. So ultimately, the goal of the education as to human making process, that which was expected in the earlier times also, now it has to be categorically to be mentioned and to be followed in a wonderful manner. So, I mean, nothing to add, sir, after your expertise you talk, but a new topic rather was, because this topic is not discussed on a larger scale, bit complicated, but you have simplified the things in a wonderful manner, and I'm really thankful on behalf of my college, MMTTC, Pote College also. So then Ankit will propose vote of thanks, but seriously, it is really nice to listen to you for such a long time after, and really, it was really impressive, sir. Thank you. Thank you so much.
And I am also thankful to all of you, sir, both the institution, both the principals, our director, Dr. Atik sir, our Pro Vice Chancellor, and our Honorable Vice Chancellor also. And Ankit always helps us for all these things to happen. So he also deserves special thanks. And finally, all learned audiences, very, very learned people are there. So I think I must thank them also. Thank you.
Okay, so sir, shall we conclude?
Yes, sir, I think.
Yeah. So on behalf of Malviya Mission Teacher Training Center, Sant Gadge Baba, Amravati University, Mahila Mahavidyalaya, Amravati, and PR Pote, Patil College of Engineering and Management, I extend my sincere thanks to Professor Anant Parakhe sir. As Professor Moril sir has already said that we are not here to provide the documentation. We have to prepare a brain set, and we are in the process to prepare the brain set. Yet definitely, sir, whatever may be the your lectures and content you have delivered here, that will be enlighten us towards this implementation and understanding, and that horizon our understanding towards this implementation and understanding of this national education policy, entire creditization structure, and its alignment with the NSQF and the NHEQF, and ultimately its outcome based education. So we are really thankful to you, sir. In spite of your busy schedule, you have shared your precious thoughts and precious time here. So on behalf of all organizing institutions, I am very much thankful to you. I am also thankful to Professor Moril sir and Dr. Raut sir for such a great collaboration, and I am also thankful to all the participants for their patience listening and active participation during the interaction. And with the kind consent of Professor Marathe sir, I would like to declare that this session will be over here. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Okay, so participants, we will stop